Zegul kayaks, great way to say performance in the sea kayaking world. This is the Bara 17.3 Touring. This is a phenomenal kayak if you are a larger paddler looking for something that's going to be comfortable, fast, and stable for day tripping or, week plus long trips out there on the waterways. We'll kind of have a look at a few of the features that are on this kayak. We'll have a look at the hull. We'll discuss who this boat's going to be best for and take you through some of the features. So the Bara is a 17-foot, 3-inch long kayak, great for touring, has a 22-inch beam on it, so it's going to be really stable for your larger paddler in that, say, 200 to 250 pound range, maybe a little bigger. Of course, it depends how you carry your body weight and what type of kayak you're looking for. We'll start out here at the bow, kind of discuss some of the features, why they're here, make our way down to the stern, and then have a look at the hull. So up at the front, we've got a very narrow bow on here. This is going to be, create a lot of speed and efficiency throughout the hull of the kayak. Up top, we have the swim toggles. Don't recommend using these as a carry handle, definitely more of an in-water recovery handle so you can hold onto that boat and use it to swim around if you're in the situation that you find yourself out of your kayak and you need to maneuver it to get back in. Coming back, we've got recessed deck fittings here, which is a nice feature, keeps everything kind of down low, hidden. We've got reflective deck lines running all the way the perimeter of the kayak. The reflective thing is really nice. If you shine a light on these at night, they really, really pop. Further down, we've got some bungee and a little paddle toggle here. And the idea of this is to make it really easy to slide your paddle in underneath of this bungee here without trying to fangle with it to get in there to secure it if you need to get somewhere in a hurry to get that paddle secured. Like on a lot of the Zeguls, we have a recessed deck mount. This is going to fit the Silva P70 or, similar size compasses in that recessed mount really, really well. So when you're on the water, you have a really good source of navigation. So coming back from our recessed deck compass, we have our first hatch here. This is basically a 10-inch kayak sport hatch, fairly rigid. They snap on and off really, really nicely. They're effectively 99% waterproof. We do have a bulkhead located on the inside here, which will keep any water from the cockpit. Again, if we do have that unintended swim or we've got some water in the cockpit, it'll prevent it from coming in. And also as a safety feature, when we have bulkheads on the front and back of our sea kayaks, it creates a lot of flotation. So again, if we're in that unfortunate situation where we're out of our kayak in the water, the kayak's going to float nice and high, making an assisted or self-rescue really, really easy. Beautiful, paint jobs on these Zeguls. These are all custom ordered, with colors that we choose. Can you choose your own color? Absolutely, you can do that. It does take some lead time, so if a custom color or custom layup is something that you're interested in, give us a holler here at the shop. Coming back a little further, we have ample deck storage here, bungee to attach things to. Again, our perimeter lines coming all the way back to the cockpit. So if you want to attach a deck bag on there, you've got the security to do that. You can put your pump, whatever accessories that you want to have really close at hand under these deck lines here at the front. A nice feature that more manufacturers are starting to introduce is the glove box, for lack of a better term. Just a small little storage space right here, super easy to grab on the water. You can store sunglasses, sunscreen, a radio, phone, that type of thing, navigation stuff, whatever you might need to have really close at hand inside of this pocket right here. And it's pretty deep, I don't know the exact liter size of it, but there's a fair amount of volume in there for all kinds of cool things. Now we're into the actual hatch of the cockpit of the boat. This is a fairly large cockpit for, your European cruising boats, but again, it is designed as a touring boat, with a slightly larger paddler in mind, or somebody who's looking for a lot of stability in their kayak. Integrated thigh hooks in here, so we have these thigh braces built right into the coaming. Pretty typical, we're gonna find. The seat is slightly adjustable. I don't know if it's a downside or a shortcoming on Zegul. The back bands in the seats are pretty fixed. They can be adjusted. You do need to drill out a new hole sometimes to make some minor adjustments if you want to move that seat around. But the advantage is when this back band is fixed in place, it is locked in place. And why that's an advantage is because, again, if we're in the water and, we're trying to do a self-rescue or we're trying to roll or any of these other things, this back band doesn't move around, so it really locks you into the boat. When we're climbing back into the kayak on, say, a self-rescue, it doesn't get in the way. It doesn't fold up, doesn't get caught on your butt, your skirt doesn't tend to get caught on it, so you can just slip right in without having to fiddle around getting a back band back in place. Inside the cockpit, we have the push-pull foot pegs, so very easy to adjust. If you need to make any adjustments on the fly, you can just lift the tab slide the foot brace around wherever you need it, and you're done. Little bit of room behind here. It does have a slope bulkhead on the back, so I know I keep coming back to, you know, if we're out of our boats, but hey, you know, we're all in between swims. In the event that this kayak needs to be drained, the sloping bulkhead here helps push all that water out so you don't get a bunch of water trapped inside. So effectively making a really dry boat when we're getting back into the kayak, and it is a nice feature to have. The combing on this guy is fairly sharp, so it's going to use a bungee style skirt really effectively. Snap that around there, lock it in, and it will keep, you know, a good majority of the water out of the kayak. Over here we have our slider for our skeg system. So nice, smooth, easy operating system. And what that's gonna do is allow that skeg to drop down. So if you're in rougher waters and you're having trouble keeping the kayak tracking in a straight direction, you can drop that skeg. It is adjustable. You don't have to have it all the way up, all the way down. Sometimes you'll find that that sweet spot might be halfway, really condition dependent and, you know, your own experience and, you know, what you're wanting out of the kayak at the time. We can order these in with rudders. They would come with a rudder and a skeg. So if that is an option that's important to you, please reach out and let us know. So coming in back behind the cockpit, again, we've got a bit more bungee here. If you find that you need more deck space to store stuff, not a huge fan of storing a lot of stuff on deck, but if you're out on a, you know, multi-week expedition, you need every space that you got, I mean, hey, get some stuff on the deck there if you're running out of space inside of the cockpits. Also right behind the cockpit, we have our day hatch, and these are a great feature as well. This is a bulkheaded hatch right here. So we've got a bulkhead here behind the seat, and then there's another one here separating the stern compartment and our day hatch compartment. These are super handy to have, you know, first aid kit, lunch, maybe a storm cag if the weather's turning foul, or extra raincoat, just whatever you need to have immediately on the water with you that isn't going to fit into your glove box there. This is a fantastic feature to have on any sea kayak. It's offset to the right, which makes getting into it by yourself really simple, because you just kind of got to reach behind yourself, pull that tab up, and then you can access into the compartment to get whatever you need out. Again, more bungee back here. A little bit back here behind our stern compartment here. This one's using an ovalized stern compartment. There's advantages and disadvantages, of course, to a lot of this stuff. This is, again, a kayak sport one, so really well-regarded kayak hatch. Tons of volume inside of here. Now, this is a Danish-style boat, so what that means is there's a lot of volume in the bow and then a little bit less in the stern. If you look at these guys riding in the water, that bow just seems like really big and aggressive, and then the stern almost looks like a Greenland kayak. You know, it sits very sleek and, you know, low in the water. And the advantage of having a ovalized hatch is the packability. Really easy to get things in and out of this hatch compared to, you know, some of the more typical round hatches we might see on a stern compartment. So it just makes access a lot easier. Downside is they do have a tendency to let maybe a little bit of water in, so you really want to make sure you have them lined up, secured, and pressed down properly to eliminate any chance of water getting into the boat. Further down, of course, we've got our reflective perimeter line all the way around. There's some nice little features here. We've got some drainage that comes off the side of the kayak here, so you don't have water pooling in beside your storage hatch. Coming all the way to the back, you'll notice we do have these three little knockouts here, and these are actually for the rudder system. So if you've got a skeg boat, they're there anyway, but we're not going to use them. If you have a rudder boat, these would be used to operate with the rudder controls for steering and also lifting and lowering the rudder. And then finally, of course, we've got our stern swim toggle on the back here as well. So here we're having a look at the hull. Now, you first might notice is, man, this thing is super shiny and really glossy. This is the 3D C-Core layup. It's a pretty impressive layup. There's no other manufacturer that I'm aware of that does anything quite like it. So what that means, the 3D C-Core, is we have a bunch of laminations of different materials put together, but most importantly, it's a combination of carbon, Kevlar carbon, and then this multi-axial fabric that they use in the middle. And what it does is just add stiffness, protection, and I mean, brilliance. I mean, it is absolutely something else to look at, and the way that they integrate this into the hull is phenomenal. It is available. Some of the kayaks we bring in do have an integrated keel strip on that's colorized to match the boat, so it can look pretty sharp with that integrated keel strip applied as well. More importantly, getting back to the actual Bara and you know, what makes this hull special, well, it would be the length of 17'3". You know, a pretty minimal rocker design on this boat, which is what we want in a lot of touring boats. We won't want too much rocker because that makes the kayak too maneuverable and not as, you know, keen to want to just track in a straight line with ease. So having a touring boat with a low rocker profile is going to speed it up, make it less prone to turning and windage and that type of thing. So you can really put the miles on with ease. Has a nice sharp V here at the front, splays out to our 22-inch beam here at the side. Uses a nice shallow arch throughout the hull of the boat here to create a lot of stability. It might feel a little bit twitchy. I haven't really noticed it too much in the Bara itself. It does feel pretty planted compared to some other boats that have kind of that shallow arch hull, and that shallow arch is like kind of that U shape. It's not super aggressive on here. It's like a mix between, shallow arch and almost a bit of a planing hull. But it does create a lot of good stability in both the primary and secondary sides due to the width and the way that chines are designed on this boat. So they blend into the chine on the corner here really, really nicely. It's not too aggressive, like a Greenland style hard chine, and just creates a really smooth and stable ride. Further down, this is our skeg box, our skeg located in here. Obviously, the skeg box itself is in that rear hatch. It does take up a bit of space, but it doesn't block off that whole compartment. So it's easy to pack things around it, like tent poles. Even if you've got a long, narrow tent, it can slide up in there. Whatever you find that can kind of just easily slide up in there, there's a lot of usable space up and around that skeg box, just knowing how to pack it right. It is available in the 3D carbon Kevlar. It is available in custom colors. It is also available in a full carbon. It is also available in a fiberglass or the A-core. The weights are as follows. The 3D C-core that's pictured here weighs in at about 44 pounds. The full carbon version is going to weigh in around 42 pounds, and the A-core is going to weigh in around 60 pounds. This kayak is best for your larger paddlers. So again, in that, say, 190 to 250-ish range, who are looking for a good quality touring boat that is fast and stable and still responsive. This is a great first-time kayak. You don't need to be an expert to get in this boat and be able to enjoy it. It does offer a really good amount of stability right from the get-go. So the Zegul Bara fits perfectly in the Zegul range of touring boats as the larger paddler's kayak. For alternatives, we can look at the Empower and also the Nuka GT. And we've got videos on those that we're either working on or that are available, so check for the link in the description below. If you'd like to test paddle the Bara, you can come visit us 7 days a week here in season at Frontenac Outfitters. Check it out online at frontenacoutfitters.com. Thanks a lot for watching.